May I request Mr. Bibhu Shankar Misra to present a sapling to Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India. May I request Mr. Alin Nisani to present a sapling to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt, Judge Supreme Court of India. May I request Mr. Amren Singh to present a sapling to Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General of India. May I request Mr. Upendra Misra to present a sapling to Mrs. Lalit Mohani Bhatt, wife of Honorable Mr. Justice Rabindra Bhatt, Judge Supreme Court of India. Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt, Judge Supreme Court of India. His wife Mrs. Lalit Mohani Bhatt. His son Mr. Anirudh Bhatt. Mrs. Savitri Bhatt. Mr. Darshan Bhatt. Mrs. Garima Bhatt. Ms. Ananya Bhatt. Mr. Prateet Harish. Mr. Raghu Subramanian. Ms. Himlata Raghu. Ms. Bharti and his staff. Honorable Judges of Supreme Court of India, and retired Judges of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Justice Muralidhar, Honorable Judges of High Courts, Mr. Adis Agrawala, President SCBA, Mr. Tushar Mehta, London Solicitor General of India, Mr. Balbir Singh, Additional Solicitor General, London Law Officers, Mr. B.H. Parikh, Mr. Rakesh Kumar Khanna, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rai, Ms. Priya Hingorani, Mr. Ardindu Mauli Kumar Prasad, Mr. Rahul Kaushik, Mr. Manoj Misra, President Skora, Mr. Sanasis Mukherjee, Vice President Skora, Mr. Devbrat, Secretary Skora, Mr. Atul Kurherkar, London Secretary General, Mr. Mahesh Patankar and other registrars, senior members and members of the bar. Very good evening to all of you. Today we have gathered here to bid farewell to Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt. It is my privilege to welcome your Lordship. Your Lordship is recognized for his pleasant yet forthright and upfront personality. He is also an outstanding and hard-working judge, known for patiently hearing everyone. The legal community deeply admires and respects him. I would like to begin with a quote from Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt. We gained our freedom at a great cost. Every Indian, therefore, has a duty to use their liberties to constantly question the actions of those in power, because democracy provides no tickets for free meals. It is up to us to assert and safeguard liberty and not become complacent about any encroachment. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt was born on 21st of October 1958 in Mysore, Karnataka. Sir, tomorrow is your birthday. Sir, a very happy birthday in advance. Lordship is an alumnus of Kendriya Vidyalaya, Faridabad, an Hindu college where he did BA Honours in English, and he attained his Bachelor's of Law from CLC, Delhi University in 1982. He enrolled as an advocate with Delhi Bar Council in 1982 and practiced before the Supreme Court, where he was enrolled as an advocate on record in 1989. It is our great pleasure to mention that your Lordship has also been a member of the Supreme Court Bar Association since 1986. His practice included a diverse range of litigation in the field of public and constitutional law, service and labor law, indirect taxation, banking, consumer law, and educational law. He worked as a government counsel for the state of UP in Supreme Court and also served as counsel for the Union of India. Additionally, he worked as a special counsel on behalf of the state of Punjab in Ravi Vyas Water Disputes Tribunal in 1986 to 1998. On 16th of July 2004, he was elevated as an additional judge of Delhi High Court and became a permanent judge on 20th February 2006. Honorable Mr. Justice S. Rabindra Bhatt led India's first High Court, labeled E-Court, Delhi High Court. He showed a keen interest in the E-Court project and always advocated for re-engineering the legal system to make it technologically advanced. He was appointed as the Chief Justice of Rajasthan High Court on 5th of May 2019. Finally, he was elevated as a Judge Supreme Court of India on 23rd of September 2019. Lordship has authored more than 122 judgments and has been part of more than 433 benches. Some of the famous cases which has been dealt by Lordship are verdict on same-sex marriage, Prithviraj Chauhan versus Union of India, Ram Babu Singh Thakur versus Sunil Arora, EWS reservation case, Patricia Mukim versus State of Meghalaya, Manoj versus State of MP, Yogendra Prasad Mandal versus State of Bihar, and many such cases. With this, may I request Mr. Tushar Mehta, London Solicitor General of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Justice Kaul Sahab, Honorable Justice Ravindra Bhatt Sahab, the Honorable Judges, my Lord Justice Ramasubramaniam, Justice Rastogi Sahab, Madam Lalit Mohini Bhatt, Madam Mrs. Kaul, family members of Justice Bhatt who are present here, and except Mrs. Bhatt and his son, they are non-lawyers. I am like a 12th man who is filling in on behalf of the Attorney General of India. So the learned attorney has a separate message which, of course, my learned friend would read out. So I will not trouble you for a longer period. Friends, as I mentioned in the morning, there are several judges who come to this court and they retire because the date of retirement is always fixed. It's not a matter whether the judge gets 4 years or 7 years or more as a tenure, but what happens during that tenure which matters, and that decides how the bar would remember him. A judge decides throughout his career, but the bar take its decision on the day when a judge retires, and our giving a standing ovation is the judgment of the bar. Friends, honorable judges, we have learned judges, intellectual giants, laying down the law in various fields which binds the entire nation, and there are several judgments which are cited in other jurisdictions of the world. And India can boast to be one of the finest judicial system where other judiciary also takes inspiration from. It's not a question whether Justice Ravindra Bhatt Sahab has authored 122 judgments, because that is a mere statistics. According to me and my limited understanding, a judgment can be into 3 categories. It can be classified into 3 categories. A, judgment which decides the list between A and B. C, D and the rest of the world is not concerned. 2, judgment which lays down the law for the nation and the country is bound by that judgment. And C, the judgment for which generations to come remain indebted to the judge. And my Lord Justice Bhatt has authored several judgments for which generations to come will remain indebted to him. This compliment is compliment coming from the bottom of my heart. Unfortunately, most of the family members of Justice Bhatt are not lawyers, except, as I said, Lalit Mohini ji and Anirudh, his son. and therefore they would never be able to know what intellectual giant is in their family and what is their gain today and what is the loss of the institution today. They would never be able to realize that the institution is losing an intellectual giant and it's entirely your gain. Friends, Justice Bhatt has pivoted several things, including the e-revolution which was started in his court in Delhi High Court, where we used to appear. And that journey continued and will continue forever. I would also divulge on behalf of all of us one more secret. As my Lord Justice Kaul mentioned in the morning, that the memory of Justice Bhatt with regard to the judgments and jurisprudence is so sharp that he has virtually every judgment by heart. The secret is this. Many a times, most lawyers would take up the matters listed before Justice Bhatt at the end of the conferences, and sometimes even our colleagues would say, sir, we have not found out the judgments, Justice Bhatt would be knowing about it. So literally we were relying upon Justice Bhatt to deliver the justice, even in some cases without our assistance. Friends, on behalf of the central government, on behalf of the learned Attorney General, and on my behalf, I wish His Lordship a very healthy and fulfilling life, the third inning hereafter, a very satisfying career in whatever he does. It was mentioned by my colleague Mr. Balbir Singh in the morning that to-do list of Justice Bhatt is always longer than his list for the next day. So in the morning, on Monday, he will not miss the list. He might miss the torture which we have imposed upon him since last about 4.5 years. But I can assure that if permitted, we would like to continue that torture once in a while. I have said in the morning, and I repeat that we would not miss Justice Bhatt because we would always remember him whenever we find out any subject, any judgment, any new point, any new dimension of jurisprudence. We will come across Justice Bhatt's intellect, and therefore he would never be missed. He would always remain with us, and for any guidance, be it professional or personal, I am sure Justice Bhatt would always be available. I am thankful to the President of the Bar Association and the office bearers to giving me this opportunity. It's a rare opportunity for me personally to bid a farewell to one of the finest judges of our court, and it was only by sheer coincidence that the learned AG is not here, and I got this opportunity to bid farewell to one of my favorite judges. I wish him all the good luck and satisfying life ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. May I request Dr. Adis Agrawala, President SCBA, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Senior Judge of Supreme Court of India, Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt and his family members, other Honorable Judges of Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Sanjeev Khanna ji, Mr. Justice B.R. Gavai ji, Mr. Justice Surya Kant ji, Mr. Justice Anuruddha Bose Sahib, Mr. Justice Harikesh Roy, Mr. Justice A.S. Oka, Mr. Justice Miss Justice Hema Kohli, Miss Justice B.V. Nagaratna, Miss Justice Bela Trivedi, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Narasimha, Honorable Mr. Justice Sudhanshu Dhulia, Honorable Mr. Justice Pankaj Mittal, Honorable Mr. Justice P.V. Sanjay Kumar, Honorable Mr. Justice Ehsanuddin Amanullah, Honorable Mr. Justice Rajesh Bindalji, Honorable Mr. Justice K.V. Viswanathan, and our former judges of Supreme Court, Honorable Mr. Justice V. Rama Subramaniam and Justice Ajay Rastogi, and our former colleague and now again he has become our colleague and who rose up to the position of Chief Justice of Odisha High Court, Mr. Justice S. Muralidhar, and Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, Additional Solicitor General for India, Mr. Vikramjit Banerjee and Mr. Balbir Singh Ji, Mr. Rohit Pandey, Honorary Secretary, Mr. Manish Kumar Dubey, Joint Secretary, Ms. Yugandha Pawar Jha, Treasurer, and Mr. Amrendra Kumar Singh, Joint Treasurer of Supreme Court Bar Association, and other office bearers of Supreme Court Bar Association and other distinguished members of Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. P.H. Parikh, our former President of Supreme Court Bar Association, other senior designated advocates, and brothers and sisters in the legal profession. We have gathered here to say goodbye to one of the finest judges of the Supreme Court who has contributed immensely to the growth of law by his path-breaking judgments. These judgments show the mastery of justice, but over the variety of subjects. But stand out is that Justice Bhatt never hesitated in adopting an unconventional line of reasoning. The common thread running through his decisions is that he tries to find out the purpose for which a law was formulated and then tries to give an interpretation by which the law is able to fulfill that objective. This is the primary duty of the judge, where he helps the legislature achieve the goal it had in mind when it was framing a law. Also, Mr. Justice Bhatt is one of those very few judges who understands the impact of his decisions. When he decides, he keeps in mind not only the interest of those who are fighting the legal battle, but also the interest of those who are not representative. The finest example of this was the case of Ross versus Sipla. This was a case heard by His Lordship when he was a judge of Delhi High Court. It was relating to patent infringement. A multinational company which was holding the patent had sued another company and prayed for interim injunction to restrain the Indian company from manufacturing the drug. Normally, a judge would see it as a dispute between the two private entities and decide the dispute on the basis of patent law. But Mr. Justice Bhatt rejected the relief on the ground that the grant of injunction will make it difficult for the public to get the medicines at an affordable cost. This was a landmark decision where public interest was introduced as a relevant factor in an IPR dispute. Mr. Justice Bhatt delivered many other judgments on intellectual property laws too. There is another case which shows Justice Bhatt to be bold, who decides only as per his conscience. This was relating to the Right to Information Act. He was called upon to decide whether the office of the Chief Justice of India is amenable to the Right of Information Act. He decided that indeed the said office had no escape from the ITI Act. This shows that it did not matter to the judge that his decisions could annoy someone, and could cost him a career advancement. This is how a judge should be, always fearless. There was another case where Mr. Justice Bhatt made a mark early on as a judge. This was the case of Avneet versus Prashant Chaudhary, where he protected the right to residence of a married woman in a house which is not owned by her husband. This judgment came to the aid of many women in distress who were staying in matrimonial homes owned by her parents-in-laws. Mr. Justice Bhatt was identified and chosen for the elevation to the Supreme Court because of his outstanding work. He continued to shine and inspire others with his remarkable judgments. We all have read the well-reasoned judgments in the Supreme case. Mr. Justice Bhatt has dealt with and given opinions on a range of subjects, including the constitutional law, service laws, tax laws, and consumer laws. He still made time and decided a large number of criminal appeals. Mr. Justice Bhatt consistently upheld and protected the right to free speech. He battled for underprivileged sections of the society, for under-trial prisoners, and for victims of sexual violence. On the judicial side, Mr. Justice Bhatt has made a mark for himself for his fearless and bold decision-making. All his judgment shows that he is guided only by the requirements of justice, and to achieve this goal, he will create his own path. When Mr. Justice was the chairman of the Building Committee of Delhi High Court, he got the most advanced and futuristic auditorium constructed, which helped in reducing the dependence of Delhi High Court on outside institutions for auditorium space. He is a soft-spoken judge, and I have never seen him showing anger. For him, it makes no difference whether the lawyer arguing before him is a senior advocate or a new entrant in the profession. The outcome of the case would be the same. My Lord, you will continue to inspire us. You are the gold standard which every young judge must aspire to achieve. We wish you all the very best for your future endeavor. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, so many honorable judges here in Supreme Court bench are from CLC, Delhi University. But on the dais, we have two batchmates sitting here who started journey together from college to apex court and fulfilling their duties to serve justice for the people. Now may I request Honorable Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Honorable Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt, family members of Justice Bhatt, Lalit Moini Bhatt, his lovely wife, and Anirudh, my brother and sister judges, current and former, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Learned Solicitor General, Dr. Adish Agarwala, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Manoj Kumar Mishra, Mr. Rohit Pandey, other office bearers of the Supreme Court Bar Association, members of the bar, other dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. We bid farewell today to my classmate and friend, Justice Ravindra Bhatt, who has made a significant contribution to law, to this and to other courts. Justice Sripati Ravindra Bhatt was elevated as a judge of the court in 2019. As my brother and sister judges would agree, it has been our distinct pleasure to share the bench with Justice Bhatt and to benefit from his presence at the Supreme Court. My association with Justice Bhatt, however, goes back to our law faculty days, where I had the good fortune of completing my legal education alongside him. Looking at Justice Bhatt's illustrious journey as a lawyer and then as a judge, it is quite difficult to choose the finest strands of his time on the bar and the bench, and weave them into a farewell address that does justice to his journey from being an advocate on record to a judge of the High Court of the land, to the Chief Justice and to this court. But I'm going to venture an attempt. In one of his lectures, Justice Bhatt recollected how we were oblivious to the idea of the Constitution as children, and it was only during our college days that most of us were introduced to the Constitution of India. Justice Bhatt brought his first copy after he saw the indomitable Mr. Nani Palkiwala argue the Minerva Mills case. Justice Bhatt was so moved that he got his hands on his very first copy of the Constitution of India the very next day. It is safe to say that Justice Bhatt shared then, as much as he does now, a profound reverence for this document that grounds our constitutional democracy. It is not surprising that he found himself in the dedicated service of this document for about 4 decades in various capacities. During his career as a lawyer and as an advocate on record, he seamlessly traversed a wide range of practice areas, including public law, employment law, commercial law, and indirect tax disputes, to name a few. He answered the call of duty and hung his robes as a lawyer to step into the shoes of the judge of the Delhi High Court in 2004. As a judge of the Delhi High Court, then as Chief Justice of the Rajasthan High Court, Justice Bhatt strived to ensure justice through his verdicts, as also by improving the administration of justice. His tenure as a judge is dotted with many significant firsts. It may seem routine now, but not long ago, the courts, even the constitutional courts, in commercial epicenters were heavily resilient on archaic models of functioning, and the images of litigants lugging suitcases to courts were common. This was, of course, long before the COVID-19 jolted us out of our conventions. Ahead of his time, in every sense of the phrase, Justice Bhatt presided over the country's first paperless e-court at Delhi High Court in 2009. He penned many notable judicial pronouncements touching the lives of the common citizen. He refused a temporary injunction in a patent infringement dispute on the ground of public interest, which he believed was better served by allowing greater access to the life-saving generic drug. He struck down a notification limiting the manufacture and use of an essential drug, mostly used by pregnant women. Long before the 9 judges bench of this court in Puttaswamy recognized the right to privacy as a fundamental right, Justice Bhatt recognized the right to privacy of a woman in a matrimonial home. He held that a policy that compels a woman to choose between motherhood and promotion is discriminatory. Reading Article 21 beyond the negative obligation to include a positive obligations towards women, he reiterated that pregnancy cannot be termed as a departure from normal employees' conditions. Notably, he held that the office of the Chief Justice of India is a public authority amenable to the RTI Act. He underlined that the role of the judge in a pluralist society is that of an equalizer. Rights without a remedy are otiose, that the most elaborate constitutional theories evaporate unless they crystallize into tangible rights. In 2009, Justice Bhatt had echoed a similar sentiment when he held that it is the judge's duty to not decide cases by dictates of popularly held notions of right and wrong. He held that if a judge were to follow transient popular notions of justice, the guarantees of individual freedom entrenched in the Constitution would be rendered meaningless. The judgment was widely celebrated as a testament to his commitment to the public function as a judge. His efforts to ensure that trials are expedited and prolonged incarceration is frowned upon is for everyone to see. Justice Bhatt has time again demanded for stringent laws needed to address fake news and hate speech on social media. In one of the conferences, he remarked that the ease of dissemination has become a double-edged sword, resulting in indirect challenges undreamt of. Therefore, even though information has now become readily accessible, it is more prone to misuse as circulation of the fake news is at an all-time high. At the Supreme Court, Justice Bhatt's contribution includes various decisions on criminal procedures in criminology. He is a part of the bench that allowed Project 39A to access the death row convict. He deprecated in no uncertain terms the practice of delaying the release of inmates who have been granted bail. It is common for rights of citizens to slip through cracks of procedures, careless oversight, or poor prioritization of causes. It takes a sensitive eye, a degree of consciousness about civil liberties, and a will to go beyond judging to do justice where it is most necessary. At the Supreme Court, Justice Bhatt has also made significant contributions on the administrative side. Very recently, the Supreme Court Committee on Accessibility, chaired by Justice Bhatt, released its audit report on the physical and functional access to the Supreme Court to persons with disabilities. It was first of its kind. The committee has painstakingly collected inputs from a wide range of stakeholders and employed various research techniques to ensure greater accessibility of the court premises for women, persons with disabilities, HIV-positive persons, and senior citizens. As the chairman of the Supreme Court Committee on Juvenile Justice and Child Welfare, Justice Bhatt has time and again voiced his opinions of the dismal state of affairs of the child care homes and how the juvenile justice systems are working below their strength. In one of the recent events, he remarked how the vacancies in the child care home were paralyzing the system. His consistent emphasis on need to operate these child welfare committees with full strength or meet the appropriate quorum is remarkable and shows his concern for the future leaders of this country. He has always believed a multi-stakeholders approach is required to achieve the objective of the Juvenile Justice Act. His dedication in inviting attention and oversight to area related to protection of children in the country is noteworthy. I believe Justice Bhatt has left the court better than he found them. For that, and for everything we have learned from him, we are very grateful. I wish him all the very best, more time with Moini, play more golf, listen to more music, and travel more places. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Now, may I request Honorable Mr. Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt, Justice Supreme Court of India, to kindly deliver his address.
Mr. Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul, Judge Supreme Court of India, my dear sister and brother colleagues on the bench, the Solicitor General for India, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Mr. Adish Agarwal, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Pandey, Secretary, Supreme Court Bar Association, members of the Supreme Court Bar Association Executive, Additional Solicitors General, law officers of the Union and the State, President and office bearers of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, former colleagues of mine on this court, some of whom are present here, senior counsel, members of the SCBA, officials of the registry, ladies and gentlemen. I count myself to be amongst one of the most lucky persons to have ended my career here as a member of the bench of the highest court in the country. That I was appointed from amongst the many colleagues to a seat in the highest court of the most popular country is an undreamt honor and privilege for which I would be deeply grateful always. It is by happy chance that we are 4 classmates from the same batch. Of course, many of you have been told of this. The present Chief Justice, Justice Kaul, me and Justice Rishikesh Roy, who's sitting there. I've also had a rare good fortune, perhaps one of the very, very few instances, of 2 people from the same chamber being part of the same bench. Justice Vishwanathan and I were colleagues in the chamber of Mr. Vaidyanathan, although for a brief while of 2 years. I will not bore you with the details of my life, except to say that my parents ensured that I and my siblings had happy childhood memories. My father belonged to a village in Kerala, picturesquely set amongst Western Ghats, which till I was 22 years saw no electricity or tarred roads. He who served in the central government taught us by example the qualities of integrity, independence, love for perfection, and a passion to learn. My mother, who is present here, and I count myself to be one of the most fortunate people. My mother is perhaps the most inspiring figure in my life, and I am blessed to see her here. Indeed, that she has witnessed all the high points in my career. She taught me, above all, the value of self-respect, courage to face the world, and has been my pillar of strength at every setback in my life, especially those affecting my health, which have been many. I had a good fortune of having had a loving, caring sister who, though younger, taught me aesthetics and appreciation of art. We mourn her tragic death at the age of 44. The void of her absence remains. Completing my graduation in honors in literature, I joined the Campus Law Center. Delhi. I little realized that so many of my classmates would join me on the bench. After graduating, I joined Mr. K.N. Bhatt, an active and successful practitioner of this court, and later Mr. Vaidyanathan. From both, I learned that practice of law meant constant self-growth and a quest for perfection. My second senior, Vaidyanathan, taught me by example one invaluable lesson, that it is not learning or knowledge which is needed. It is the practical solution to any problem and one's ability to see clearly the solutions that the law can afford. The other precept that I learned from him was the ability to think laterally, to go outside the frame, as it were. My days at the bar were exhilarating. I witnessed, I could say, the two of us, I and Murli, and later Vishwanathan and Justice Narasimha, witnessed the growth of constitutional law and were a part of as counsel in important constitution bench cases like Chandrakumar, Unni Krishnan, TMA Pai Foundation, the Bhopal gas tragedy case, etc. I also witnessed turning points in legal history like the decision in Antule